In a city's museum, an expensive golden egg covered in diamonds went missing. The museum workers noticed it in the morning and, of course, they immediately reported the theft to the police. The city's best detective started investigating the case. She carefully looked through the footage and identified 3 main suspects. Then, she saw a handprint on the glass the egg was placed behind. Take a look at these handprints and at the suspect's hands. Who is guilty? It's this person right here. Look, the prints of the fingers aren't full because something came in the way. This person is wearing rings right there, so it's their print. In a little town, someone stole an expensive silver collar for a cat, covered in diamonds and precious gems. The shop's owner called the police, and the investigation started. There were 3 suspects. Mr. Johnson said,
"I came to look for earrings for my daughter's birthday. We don't have any pets."
Mrs. Martin said, "I got a bracelet for myself. I didn't steal anything." Mrs. Tanner said,
"I have no idea what you're talking about."
The thief is Mr. Johnson. There are cat footprints in his garden, so the family obviously has a pet. There was a robber in the city, and no one could catch him for several months. After another incident, the police saw the robber entering a hospital. They walked in and ran into 2 doctors. Which one of them is fake and is actually the robber? It's this guy, the one who's wearing headphones instead of the stethoscope. Mrs. Stevens went on a 3-month vacation, but had her workers coming regularly to maintain the house. When she returned, she realized that one of the workers was skipping quite a bit of work once in a while, going on an unplanned vacation themselves. Who was it? A gardener who takes care of the outside garden, a housekeeper who takes care of everything in the house, or a painter who is coming to paint her house. It's the housekeeper. Look, the houseplants dried out. Seems like he skipped a couple of weeks of work and probably only cleaned the house right before Mrs. Stevens returned. Do you think you can figure out who the bride of this man is? It's this woman right here. Look, she has the same tattoo as this guy. A small city's police got a message that monsters silently flooded the town and now live among humans. It's not a problem, but the police decided to identify them all to keep an eye on them. Can you help the police identify in which houses the monsters live? Here's the first task. You see 2 houses and a vampire lives in one of them. Which one? It must be this house, the dark one where the blinds are closed on all the windows. Vampires don't like sunlight. Okay, the next task is to find the house of a mummy. Here are 2 possible options. Which house does the mummy live in? This one. Look, there are bandages around the house. The next creature whose residence we need to identify is a gnome. Take a look inside 2 houses. Can you tell where the gnome lives? Probably in this house. All furniture is smaller and placed way lower than in the other house, so it must be the residence of someone small, like a gnome. Now, we need to find the house of a centaur. Take a close look at both houses. Can you identify the one? This one right here. See, there are horse prints on the pathways to the house. The last one. A real witch lives in one of these houses. Can you tell where you're most likely to be bewitched? Did you notice this cute black cat? That's a famous witch sidekick, so my bet is on this house. On a cold January night, Delaney was found unconscious in the cloakroom when her best friend Jane came looking for her. She was at a house party with a bunch of college students. The police interrogated several students, asking where they were around the time of the accident. Allison said, "I was upstairs all the time, dancing with my friends." Liam said, "I went to a kiosk to pick up some candy for my girlfriend. There were only drinks and chips." Oliver said,
I was talking to a girl. She seems to like me.
Who should have been taken to the police station? Liam. It's a cold night, and he would need a jacket to go to a kiosk. And if he needed a jacket, he would go into the cloakroom to get it, and would have found Delaney instead of Jane. So either he lied or walked past an unconscious girl. Ronan Collins, a successful businessman, went missing. His family reported it to the police. The main suspect was Ronan's business partner, Jennifer. She had been out of the city, but as soon as she returned, the police knocked on her door and asked if she knew something about Ronan's disappearance 2 weeks prior. "I just returned from my month-long trip to the Amazon rainforest an hour ago. I haven't heard anything about it." The detective didn't believe her right away and took her to the station for further investigation. Why? From the photos, we can clearly see that Jennifer dyes her hair. She says that she just returned from her trip, which was a whole month long. But her hair is perfectly dyed. Some roots would grow out. So, she's lying at least about something. Esme was having a walk in a forest and got lost. But she found the house of a witch, walked in, petted her black cat, and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy operating on a frog, a rat, and a crow. She was using magical healing gloves, but she only had 2 pairs, so she needed Esme's help to figure it out, and then she'd take her home. How can she operate on all 3 animals with the 2 pairs of magical gloves, but remain sanitary? The witch should operate on the frog wearing the first pair of gloves over the second one. Then, she should operate on the rat using just the second pair. Finally, she should operate on the crow wearing the first gloves inside out, worn over the second glove. Detective Callum had to travel to a small neighboring city where dogs were being kidnapped every night, right out of the house. There were already 4 of them missing, and all of them were living on the same street. Mila was kidnapped first, then Karma the next night. After that, it was Jake, and then Mr. Sniffer. There were just 3 dogs left that lived on the street. Can you figure out which dog is going to be the next target? Look carefully at the dogs that were kidnapped, or actually at their collars. The first dog that was kidnapped has a red collar. Karma has an orange collar. Then Jake was wearing a yellow one, and Mr. Sniffers owned a green one. Seems like they're being kidnapped in order of rainbow colors. So, the next target should be this dog, the one wearing the blue collar. Mason called the police, reporting that his metal safe box with his savings was stolen. He walked into his bedroom right in time to spot the robber throwing the safe out of the window and disappearing in the window right after. So, Mason wanted the robber caught, or his insurance to pay him the money he had lost. The detective came to investigate. "Did you touch anything in the room after the incident?" he asked.
No, I came straight to you.
"Then there was no robber." The detective concluded. Why? The robber couldn't go out of the window without stepping on the bed that was standing right by the window. But the bed is perfectly made. How is it possible if Mason didn't touch it?
A hat and scarf cost $110. The hat is $100 more expensive than the scarf. How much does the scarf cost? $5. It means that the hat is $105, which is exactly $100 more than the scarf. Mia was a shop assistant on a giant cruise liner. Once, she found an expensive watch in the boutique where she worked and announced it on the radio. Soon, 4 people showed up in the store. Each of them claimed it was their watch. Mia looked at all of them attentively and realized who the watch belonged to. Can you figure it out too? This man does have a watch tan line, but it's much bigger than the watch Mia found. This young girl already has a watch on her left hand. Why would she wear the second one? The elderly lady must be very absent-minded. Her dog is wearing her watch as a collar. The watch must belong to the teenager. Nick was an experienced skydiver, but one day, something went wrong. A strong gust of wind brought him to the forest. The man found himself among trees with no food or water. Soon, Nick saw 4 roads in front of him. One led to a supermassive black hole that swallowed everything that got close. The second road ended in a sea full of sharks. The third road led to a mountain that was impossible to climb over. And the fourth road ended in a bottomless abyss. Which road should Nick take? He should follow the third road. No one says he has to climb over the mountain. He can simply go around it. During which month do people sleep the least? During February. It only has 28, maximum 29 days. A man is on the run from the police after he stole 3 massive gold bars, 30 pounds each. At some point, he reaches a long bridge that can support only 260 pounds. The man weighs 200 pounds. How can he transport all 3 gold bars in one go? He has to walk across the bridge while juggling the bars. It means that at any time, only 2 bars will be on the bridge, since the third one will always be in the air. Look attentively at these 3 men carrying a log. One of them is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the man in the middle. For one thing, he's wearing a suit, which is a strange choice of clothing for such a task. Plus, his face is quite relaxed, and his eyes are open. It doesn't look as if carrying the lug feels like hard work for him. One evening, Emma went to take out the trash from her coffee shop. She was about to leave when she spotted something dark in the corner behind the trash bins. It was a young woman, and she was unconscious.
Oh my God.
Emma rushed to her. The girl's bag and smartphone were lying nearby on the ground. The first person on the contact list was named Big Sis. Emma called the number and heard a female voice. "I found your sister lying on the ground. It seems someone hit her on the head."
What?
The woman was shocked and promised to come immediately. Next, Emma called the police. The sister and police officers arrived at the same time. "Arrest this woman! She's behind the attack!"
Oh.
And Emma pointed at the sister. Why did she say so? She didn't tell the sister where to come. How did she know the address?
Oh.
There are 4 cups on the counter, all of them upturned and hiding the same number of sweets underneath. Near each of the cups, there is a sign that says how many sweets are under it. The signs are 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 6 or 7, and 7 or 5. Only one of these signs is correct. How many sweets are there under each cup? Since only one sign is correct, the right number can't appear twice. Otherwise, more than one sign will be correct. It means that there are 8 sweets under each cup. Luke took part in a scientific experiment, but something went terribly wrong. He ended up in a place where there was nothing but 3 portals. One of them led to a polar desert in Antarctica. The second one opened into a volcanic crater filled with molten lava. And behind the third portal, there was the age of dinosaurs, with huge diplodocuses roaming around. Which portal should the man choose? Luke would freeze in no time in a polar desert. Molten lava isn't even an option. But diplodocuses are totally harmless to people. They only eat plants. Look at the picture attentively and say which of these people is left-handed. It's the waiter. It's easier for a left-handed person to hold the tray in the right hand and deal with the food and drinks with the left, dominant hand. Detective Henry Taylor was getting ready for work when he heard screams from his neighbor's house. He rushed there. The door was locked. The man had to kick it several times before it opened. He found his neighbor, Miss Anderson, in the living room. She was tied to a chair. "Oh, I'm so happy you heard me shouting. An hour ago, a man knocked on my door and said he was an electrician. But as soon as I let him in, he tied me up and took all the priceless paintings I had got from my grandfather, and then he just ran away." Detective Taylor had to arrest the woman for staging the theft. How did he know? When he tried to get into the house, the door was latched from the inside. Who could do it if Miss Anderson was tied up and the thief supposedly ran out of the house in a hurry? You have 5 pieces of chain, and each of them is made up of 3 links. You have to make a long chain out of these 5 pieces. Welding an open link will cost you $3, and breaking a link open is $1. Can you make a long chain if you have only $15? First, take 1 piece of chain and break all of its 3 links open. It'll cost you $3. Then link the remaining 4 pieces of the chain with these open links. Welding these links will cost you another $9. In total, you'll only pay $12. In the middle of a long flight, 2 passengers stood up and started to threaten the crew and passengers. They demanded $1 million in a helicopter. One of the criminals had a pilot's license and could fly a copter. When the plane landed at the nearest airport, the passengers got everything they had requested: a case full of money and a helicopter. But when they got inside, they didn't manage to fly away and were captured by the police. Why couldn't they start the machine if the helicopter didn't have any technical problems? The helicopter was okay, but there was no fuel in its tank. Michael got lost when he was walking in the forest. After hours of wandering around, he finally saw a weird-looking house that seemed to be deserted. Still, the guy decided to try his luck and ask for directions. But when he entered the house, the door shut behind his back with a loud bang, and he heard a voice, "You've entered my home uninvited. You won't leave it easily." Oh no! After that, Michael found himself in a room with 3 doors. The voice told him that only one of those doors led to freedom. Behind the first door, there were starving wolves. The second door hid a furious werewolf. And behind the third door, there was a huge, raging campfire. Which door is safe? Michael should wait until the campfire goes out and get out of the house through the third door.
Up for a logo test? I have some new ones for you to challenge your brain. Don't forget to keep your score to see how good your results are. Okay, at first, I'll be showing you 2 logos. One is correct and the other is fake. You'll have to tell me which logo is the right one. Deal? Let's go then.
2, 1.
What about this logo of Dior? Yes, of course, it's this one. Next up, Universal Pictures. So, what side of the globe do you see on their logo? This globe is the correct one. What about the Beatles? What's the correct logo? Right, it's this one, of course. Can you find the original Victoria's Secret logo? Here it is. I'm sure you know which Twitter it is. This one, of course. A small hint for you. It's Chicago Cubs, a baseball team. Do you know which logo is the correct one? It's the left one. A harder one for you. Can you remember Buick's logo? It's a car brand. Here it is. Good job. Moving on. Montclair, what do you pick? That's the one. What about Tag Heuer, a watch brand? That's the one on the right. Find the one and only logo of the Dallas Mavericks. It's the one on the left for sure. Sephora, which way is it supposed to be bent? That's the one. Wikimedia, we all use it, but what is the correct logo? This one. Another easy one, New England Patriots. What's the correct logo? Yes, of course, it's this one. Next up is Columbia Pictures. Which arm should be lifted? Her right arm, which is on the left when you look at her. And the correct logo is the one on the left too. Okay, this one is way harder. International Monetary Fund. Where is their logo? This one. Now, I'm going to change the task. I'll be showing you logos and you'll have to recognize them. Do you think you'll manage to guess them all? We'll see.
3, 2, 1.
Here's the first one. We all know what WB stands for, right? Hit it! Correct, it's Warner Brothers. Okay then, any ideas about this one? Yes, that's Beats. Nothing hard yet. Moving on, another easy one for you. Do you recognize it? That's Danone, of course. That's something trickier but still very well known. Any guesses? Marriott, a hotel chain. What do you think this leprechaun represents? That's the logo of the Boston Celtics, a basketball team. Okay, any ideas? It's Cameo, an app where celebrities can send you a shout-out. What about this one? It's Bugatti. This one is way easier. What's this brand? It's the North Face. Okay, another one for you here. What do you say? It's Ocean Spray. What do you think this dragon stands for? That's MSI, a Taiwanese technology corporation. Yeah, that was a tough one, sorry. SF. Must be San Francisco, right? But San Francisco what exactly? It's the San Francisco 49ers, a football team. Do you think you know this one? It's Alpine, a French brand of racing cars. Any ideas here? That's Zalando. A house turned upside down. Interesting. What is it? The Neighborhood, a rock band. That's a simple but cool one. Who does it belong to? Vera Wang, a fashion designer who creates wedding dresses. Do you know this logo? It's Matrix, a professional hair care brand. Does this bull ring a bell? It should. It's Chicago Bulls, a famous basketball team. Do you recognize this brand? It's Cetaphil. This isn't the simplest one either, but well, it can't all be the McDonald's logo. The game is bound to get harder, so what do you say? It's Escada, a luxury clothing brand. What about this one? It's Los Angeles Angels. They play baseball. Yeah, very interesting. A slightly stretched O. Any thoughts? It's Oakley, a company that makes sunglasses and sports equipment. What about this logo? What is it? That's Sisley, a French luxury cosmetic brand. This one's harder. What is it? It's Purina that produces cat food. Do you know this one? It's General Mills, a food manufacturer. LA something. It can't be too hard. Los Angeles what? It's Los Angeles Rams, a football team. Do you have any thoughts about this one? That's Macmillan Dictionary. Any ideas about what this logo is? Evanescence, a music band. That's a very important organization. Let's see if you know it. What is it? The Global Fund. Does it ring a bell? That's Bon Jovi. What about this logo? That's the Houston Texans, a football team. What about this logo? Fitbit. Any ideas about this one? That's Strava, an internet service that helps you track your physical activity. What about this one? It's UNESCO, an organization that promotes peace and education. So what do you think this G stands for? Green Bay Packers, an American football team from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Do you know what this logo means? It's HarperCollins, a famous book publisher. What do you think this little cutie is? That's Waze, a navigation app. Well, this one is famous. That's Philadelphia Eagles, of course. Do you know this one? It's Partners in Health, an organization that works to strengthen health systems. You have my respect if you've got it right. And now, are you ready for one more type of task? It's the hardest one. I'll be showing you little pieces of famous logos and you'll have to recognize them. Let's check how attentive you are. Here's the first one for you. Any guesses? It's Tissot, a watch brand. Do you recognize it? That's AC/DC, a music band. What are your thoughts? This is CeraVe. Another simple one for you. Hit it. That's Xiaomi. Can you recognize what this is? McLaren, a British automotive manufacturer. They produce supercars. Okay, this one's easy. I'm sure you can recognize it. It's everyone's favorite, Pringles. Okay, this one shouldn't be too hard either. Let's see if you get it. Even if you think you don't know it, you do. It's Minecraft. How about this one? I hope you recognize the Nintendo Switch logo. Everyone loves them, so what are they? Of course, these are nerds! Okay, this one's harder. What do you say? That's the Washington Post, a daily newspaper. Another brand you likely know. That's Arizona. Okay, it's something famous, and I wonder if you'll recognize it. What do you say? See, it's Bank of America. That seems impossible. But let's see how good you are with Mission Impossible. What do you think? If you got it right, you're either a genius with photographic memory or consume alarming amounts of Schweppes every day. Okay, another little piece for you. Can you recognize it? That's Chester's. What a cutie! What do you say? Yeah, of course, it's goldfish.
All right, let's see how good you are at remembering details. Take a close look at the images. After 7 seconds, one element will be gone. Your task is to name it. You get 1 point for each correct answer. Let's start with an easy one to warm up your brain. Just a peaceful alpine landscape interrupted by a speed train. Okay, I hope you had enough time to remember it in detail. What is missing now? The bottom of the girl's staff is gone, so I guess it's useless now. Moving on. 2 noble knights are trying to win over the princess's heart. I don't know who's going to win, but I'm sure something is missing in this image. Oh no, the princess has lost her beautiful tiara. Next. Looks like a typical day at some startup's office. Sure, they wouldn't mind some changes. And there you go. One of the plants is missing. Now they can just use it as another coffee mug. How about this one? This bus must be headed to that startup's office from the previous picture. Now, what's the difference between the 2 images? One of the girls is missing glasses. Did you notice it? These guys must be having a heck of a time. What if we change something here? Voila! What's missing? It's a tricky one. Looks like some of the ports on the back of the TV set are now missing. I wonder if they can still play their games without those. I'm feeling hungry. Time to go grocery shopping. So many things to choose from. And now one of them is gone. I know. A milk carton on the top shelf went missing. Must have landed in someone's shopping cart. 3 friends went on a safari. They saw some rhinos, hippos, and whatnot. And then, in the blink of an eye, something was different about that African landscape. Do you see it? One of the guys has lost his travel mat. A hippo will definitely take good care of it. Something's always going on at the airport. 1 second, and it's all different. The guy in the back should have kept an eye on his belongings. His briefcase is gone. Buying flowers for someone you love is always a good idea. This little shop has an impressive choice, but that might be about to change. Whoa, I was looking at the flowers, but the missing detail here is one of the bricks. Surprise, surprise! That's one happy girl. Looks like she just finished decorating her apartment. It looks perfect, except one detail is missing now. It's the middle line on one of the vases. That moment you arrive at college on your classy new motorbike, nothing can possibly go wrong. Well, it did, as one item is missing in this image. Can you tell what it is? It's the clock, a good excuse for being late to class. All aboard the pirate ship, the oceans are awaiting. Aye, but first, let's find one detail that's missing here. That was a tricky one. Jolly Roger is definitely missing here, and a pirate is not a pirate without it. The hat is called a tricorn, by the way. Let's move from a pirate ship back to big city life. The passengers are all going somewhere, and who knows what's going to happen the next moment. Can you tell what's different now? Found it! The girl's backpack is missing a handle. That's one lucky guy. Looks like he got the golden ticket. Oops, and now something is missing here. Hope it's not the lucky golden ticket. It's the minute hand on that wall clock in the back. Did you spot it? I'm getting hungry. Again. Hope this guy can help me out with some pasta or whatever he's cooking out there. Except, something is off here now. I hope it doesn't slow down the cooking process. Yep, one of the tomatoes is missing. Gotta find it and put it back. Now, let's spice things up a bit. You'll be looking for 2 missing details in every image, not 1. Someone has a car to fix at this auto repair shop. Try to remember every detail. It's the little things that matter. And now, can you find 2 details that are missing? It's the red cap on the canister and one of the crosses on the chalkboard. Moving on to the next image. Just a typical classroom where not every student is equally excited about what's going on. Now, what's missing here? The guy in the red hoodie won't write much without a pencil. And the girl in the back has a new hairstyle now. Her ponytail is gone. Everybody has their idea of a perfect morning. See that guy sleeping right on the lawn? That would be me. But everything is about to change here. And voila! 2 things are missing. Can you name them? One of the balls is now missing, as well as that tower on top of one of the skyscrapers. Ready for the next one? Looks like this guy has just inherited a good amount of money. But what is this mess all about? Anyway, your task is to find the 2 missing pieces of this puzzle. The bottle that used to be right here on the bookshelf is gone. And one of the spots on the window followed it. It looks better now. Time for another one. This couple must be headed home for the weekend while their less fortunate colleague has to stay in the office. They're waving goodbye to him and 2 details that were in the picture. One of the notes is gone, and the lucky guy just lost some blush off of his cheek. Did you notice that? This guy sure has a lot of books to read. 3, 2, 1, and something is gone. I knew it. It was the book right here and this whole pile on the top shelf. This image seems peaceful and simple, but just wait. Are you sure something has changed? It looks exactly the same to me. Oh, right! I can see that the horse is missing its plow, and the tree has lost most of its leaves. I gotta admit, things are getting trickier and trickier. Your new task is to find 3 missing objects. Looks like these guys can't decide who has to clean up today. Let's see if moving things around a bit can help them. So, the note on the fridge is missing, the bucket no longer casts a shadow, and the dishwashing liquid is gone. These ladies seem so sweet. Can you help them find 3 missing elements in their portrait? Well, you can't pour any water out of this watering can, and one of the ladies has lost 2 elements of her adorable smile. The mountains are calling, and I must go. But before I join this guy, you gotta name the 3 things missing in this new image. There are no more knots on the backpack, and the guy has lost his bangs. And look at that mountaintop, it's completely different now. I can't tell if they're playing some game or trying to catch a bat in their backyard. Anyway, the task remains the same for you. Only the most attentive of you must have noticed the glass is now empty. One door is missing a handle, and the plant right here is missing one of its leaves. Want to go horse riding? Oh no, things are all messed up now. Can you bring them back to normal? The horse is missing a part of its bridle. One of the apples must have fallen off the tree, and that tiny window in the back is gone. Congrats! You've reached the champions level. You'll see images moving on the screen. Your task will be to name one detail that's off. Let's start with an easy one. It seems perfectly normal, but there must be something wrong here. Ah, there's no river on the other side of the bridge. Next, please. I know. The wind can't be blowing in different directions. What about this one? So many details to consider. I hope you notice what's wrong here. The traffic light has no red. Must be pretty chaotic out there. And another one for you to figure out. This street doesn't look nearly as busy as the previous one. This one seems just fine to me. Can you tell what's not okay in this image? There can't be 2 suns in the sky. So, if you got over 20 points, you have an incredibly sharp eye. You could start a career as a detective, unless you already have one. If you've got 10 to 20 points, your visual memory is better than that of most people. You're attentive to details, and it helps you a lot. If you got less than 10 points, you tend to see the big picture rather than the little things. If it worries you, try solving more visual riddles. This Christmas, Jake decided to play a game with his sons. He would only give them their Christmas presents if they could win at his game. He would ask them a series of questions, and they would get as many gifts as they answered the riddles correctly. Jake asked his first son, Gabriel, what do snowmen call their offspring? Do you have any idea how to answer this riddle? They call them children. Duh. Then Jake asked his only daughter, Julia, another question. Knock, knock, he said. Who's there? She answered. Tree, Jake said. Tree who? Can you guess the answer to this riddle? It's the Three Wise Men. This one was definitely hard. His kids were doing so good that he decided to switch it up a little. He asked his son Aaron, "What do you call a disrespectful reindeer?" What's the answer here, huh? Well, let's see. A disrespectful reindeer is a Rudolph. For his last question, he asked all of his offspring together, "Where do Santa and the elves go to swim?" What do you think they answered? The North Pole, of course. On one of his trips, Santa brought with him some delicious walnut cookies. He kept them in a jar, waiting for the perfect moment to eat them. But one day, he got home from a day of work and found that his cookies were gone. He decided to interview his elves to find out who might have eaten his cookies. The first elf told Santa that he was making peppermint swirls with Mrs. Claus all morning. The second elf said he had spent the afternoon making homemade peanut butter for Christmas Day. And the last elf said he spent the day keeping an eye on the reindeer so they wouldn't fly away. Santa immediately knew who had eaten his cookies. How did he know? Take a look at the second elf's tongue. It's completely swollen. Elves are allergic to all types of peanuts, swollen from eating the cookies. Plus, his alibi is fake. If he had spent the day making peanut butter, he would have gone to the elf hospital for sure. At Somerville Middle School, the teachers decided to play a prank on their students to make the holiday season more cheerful. The principal announced on the speaker that there was a robber on the loose. The robber was dressing up as Santa and robbing laptops inside the school property. Students were told to beware. At the end of the school day, 5 students had photographed different people dressed up as Santa around the school. Take a look at the photographs. Can you figure out who the fake thief is? The thief is the second Santa on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it. In 3 different parts of the world, 3 Santa Clauses are getting ready for their big night. They're about to leave the comfort of their homes to go and distribute gifts all around the world. Take a good look at the image below. Which Santa isn't ready to leave? He's the one in the middle. He still doesn't have his belt on. He can't leave without his belt. And speaking of spotting the real Santa, take a look at these 2 chimneys. Can you tell who is the real Santa? Take a look. The guy on the left has huge legs, and there's some green fur poking out of his pants. It must be the Grinch. The real Santa is the guy on the right, that's for sure. Daniela is a new detective in town, and there's an urgent case for her to solve. At night, someone robbed a mall and stole all the presents prepared for the winter show. In the morning, the videos from the security cameras were analyzed, and the police found 3 main suspects. All of them were interrogated. Bernard said, "I have nothing to do with it. I came from work yesterday and was watching football until I fell asleep." Samuel said, "Today, in the evening, I was so tired, so I just went to sleep and you woke me up." And Jason said, "I was studying all night for my exam in the afternoon." Who should Daniela arrest? Both Samuel and Jason look very tired, but only Jason has a valid reason for not sleeping. But Samuel called the previous day today by mistake, which means he probably didn't sleep at night and there was no difference for him between the 2 days. It was definitely him. Santa arrived in LA to give out gifts for children in the region. He parked his sleigh on top of a family's home and traveled down their chimney. He left their gifts under the tree and decided to check if the family left some cookies for him to snack on. He found the dinner table set with delicious meals: candy canes, hot chocolate, gingerbread, and a turkey. Can you tell which food doesn't belong at a Christmas table? The turkey. They're usually eaten during Thanksgiving, not Christmas. Well, in some homes. On January 1st, Devin called the police to report a crime. He says he went to his neighbor's New Year's Eve party the night before, and during that time, someone must have broken into his house and stolen his laptop. When the police asked about the party, Devin said it was great. There was good food, and the tree lights in his house were shining brightly and beautifully. Devin added that he thought that his neighbor could have been the one that stole his things. Maybe he snuck inside the house when Devin was at his place having fun. The police officer went next door to interrogate Devin's neighbor, Tom. However, as soon as Tom opened the door, the officer knew he wasn't guilty of the crime and also that Devin was lying. How? Look at Tom's Christmas tree. There are no lights, meaning it was probably not even working on the night before. Devin was lying. He probably just wanted to get some insurance money. 4 Santa Clauses were flying aboard a commercial flight. But just before the aircraft was about to take off, the airline got an anonymous call saying that someone was trying to smuggle illegal goods into the aircraft. So they had to check everyone's bags. Each bag went through the X-ray machine again. The first Santa was carrying an extra pair of wigs, shoes, and costume. The second Santa was carrying shaving cream, a book, and several naughty or nice lists. The third Santa had a stash of money, a laptop, and another wig. And the fourth Santa was carrying a few gifts and some gingerbread. Can you guess which Santa is a criminal? It's the one carrying the shaving cream. Santa never shaves his beard, so he must be hiding something inside it. Jenny ran into her comedian friend on the street during the holiday season, and he was on fire, asking her to answer all of his riddles. The first thing he asked Jenny was, why is Santa really good at karate? Because he has a black belt. Way to go, Jenny. Then he asked her, if December 31st is the end of the year, then what is the end of Christmas? The letter S. Well, that sounded obvious. For his grand question, he asked Jenny, what do you call a person who is afraid of Santa? The answer? Claustrophobic. Christmas is just around the corner, but you received a letter saying you didn't make it to Santa's nice list. You were naughty all year long and are not getting any presents unless you prove you are filled with Christmas spirit. Now, what would you say is the best way to do that? Praying, dancing in the middle of the street, or singing Christmas carols? Well, it's definitely the last option. Carols are the best way to spread Christmas cheer. Merry Christmas!
Monica decided to go on a solo vacation to Brazil. She was strolling along a deserted beach when some magical sea creature caught her by surprise. It took her to a cave at the bottom of the ocean, took all her stuff, and left her there. To escape, she had to go through one of 3 tunnels. The first tunnel had sharks swimming all over it. The second tunnel had poisonous underwater snakes. And the third tunnel had a pirate shipwreck. Which tunnel should she choose to go through? She should pick the third tunnel. Sure, it's a pirate ship, but it's already sunk and it won't pose any real threats. Anna decided to throw a costume party and invited all her friends. 2 couples decided to dress up as vampires, but one of these couples is made of real vampires. Take a look at the image. Can you tell me which one? It's the second couple. They are vampires. They don't have any reflection in the mirror, do they? On a murky water day, Jason woke up confused. He had bumped his head into a coral reef and woke up in another underwater kingdom. 3 mermaids took him in and helped him get better. When he finally opened his eyes and asked who they were, they all said they were his wife. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which mermaid is telling the truth? If you look closely, the third mermaid to the right is wearing a shellfish ring similar to the one that Jason is wearing. This must mean she's his real wife and the other two mermaids were lying. In the Wizardry School of Ninth, students are getting ready for a philosophy test. They're pretty good at doing magic, but they haven't developed their theoretical skills too much. The teacher, Mrs. Woodland, prepared a relatively easy first question for them. It asked, "What is the phrase that makes you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy?" The correct answer is, "It will be over soon." Yikes! On the same day of that test, Mandeline had a potion test. She was extremely nervous since she could never get the very difficult spells correctly. She got to the classroom and the teacher had left a few potion bottles for her to label. Take a look at the bottles and the tags. Can you tell which bottle is which? Our first clue lies in the bottles themselves. The first bottle is for the freezing potion. It freezes anything it gets into contact with. The second bottle carries a potion for making people stronger. The third bottle makes people feel sick. Ew! The fourth bottle is the one for finding eternal love. And the last bottle with the frog is for turning frogs into princes. I quite like these potions. On Amy's graduation day, her mother introduced her to a few eligible bachelors. She really wanted her daughter to find a new love, since she had recently broken up with her college sweetheart. She talked with the guys who all said they were training to be airplane pilots, but she figured out one of them was lying. How could she tell? Take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, which means he can't be a pilot. Pilots need to have perfect eyesight. James, a father of 4, went to work, leaving a $50 bill on the kitchen table for his oldest daughter, Quinn, to go shopping. When he got home, there was no food. Quinn said she hadn't been able to go shopping because he hadn't left any money. James asked his other 3 kids to come down and question them. Beverly said she saw the money on the table but didn't touch it. Kenneth said she opened the window and put the money under the book so it wouldn't fly away. Owen said he'd put the bill inside the book between pages 57 and 58. Can you tell who's lying? Owen is lying. He couldn't put the money between pages 57 and 58 because they're the 2 sides of the same page. Cindy was playing with her time machine when she opened a portal to another dimension. The portal took her to a sorcerer's house in the middle of nowhere. The sorcerer was so powerful that she closed Cindy's portal and Cindy was stuck there. The sorcerer proposed that they play a game. She said she had 2 cards in her hand, one that said free and another that said stay. Cindy could pick only one card. If she got the one with free written on it, she'd go back home. But if she picked the one with the word stay, she'd stay forever. But the sorcerer was such a trickster that she changed both cards to stay. Even so, Cindy managed to be freed by the sorcerer, beating her at her own game. How did she do it? Cindy anticipated what the sorcerer would do, so as soon as she picked the first card, she threw it in the fire, saying it was by mistake. That way, the sorcerer would have to show her the remaining card was stay, which meant that the one she had burnt had to be the card with free written on it. Way to go, Cindy! After Colton was shipwrecked, he found himself on a deserted island. Luckily, he still had his pills with him. There are 2 blue pills and 2 red ones. He needs to take 1 red pill and 1 blue pill, but his eyesight was severely compromised after the wreck, so he can't tell them both apart. There's nobody around to help him. How can he manage it? Colton should break each of the 4 pills into half and eat 4 halves of each. This way, he'll take exactly 1 red and 1 blue. Last week, Sophia attended the town's much-anticipated masquerade ball. She chose to show off her mother's vintage diamond necklace. But during the event, she noticed her necklace was gone. She called a private investigator immediately and asked him to bring her diamond necklace back, whatever it cost her. Very quickly, the investigator gathered 3 suspects. Kate, the one with the blue mask, says she spent most of the evening in the garden. Bianca, wearing the green mask, insists she was in the bathroom when the theft occurred. Jake, with the silver mask, says that he only noticed Sophia's necklace was missing after he came back from the bar. The investigator immediately knew who was lying and recovered the diamond necklace. Can you figure it out too? How did Jake know the exact moment the necklace went missing? It must have been him. Plus, take a look at his pocket. It looks like there's some triangular-shaped object in there, doesn't it? Luke was an adventurer, and on his latest trip, he went to Vietnam. There, he came across an ancient treasure map. The map led him to a remote island where a legendary treasure was said to be hidden. But the treasure's location was protected by a series of cryptic symbols. He needed to find it to unlock the treasure. Take a look at the encoded message that appeared and help Luke figure out a pattern that will take him to the treasure. The message said, "Carrot, sun, astronaut, filled you room." This wasn't so tricky, huh? The key to answering this one is noticing the pattern. The letters in capitals are the ones that make up the password. So, the correct password is Ray. The other words are just there to confuse you. Way to go, Luke! One of these girls has a pet at home. Can you tell me which one? It's the one in the middle. She's got scratches all over her arm.